All right, ready to dive in? Today, we're tackling something that I think pretty much everyone has experienced at one point or another: headaches.
Yeah, for sure. Can't really avoid them, can you?
Absolutely not. And you've brought together some fascinating stuff for us to dig into. I mean, we're looking at what a headache actually is, the different kinds that people get, what causes them, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, how to tell what's going on, and most importantly, what can we do about them?
Right. So today we're going to get to the bottom of headaches. What's important? What's surprising? What do people really need to know?
Yeah, there's so much information out there, so we'll try to focus on the key takeaways for everyone listening.
Sounds good. So to kick things off, how about this? It always feels like my brain is hurting, right? But the crazy thing is the brain itself doesn't feel pain.
That's so true.
It's actually the nerves and blood vessels and muscles around your head that cause the pain.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thought, isn't it? You think your brain is hurting, but it can't actually feel pain.
Yeah, it is. It's like, whoa, what's actually happening in there? So maybe we can start with the very basics, like what exactly is a headache?
Yeah, great question. So, simply put, it's pain in the head, right? But it can be so many different things. It can be super mild, or it can be this totally debilitating pain.
Right. Some are no big deal, and some you're like, I need to lay down right now.
And it can last for a few minutes or for days.
Yeah.
So there's a huge range there. I think it's helpful to think about it as a signal your head is telling you that something's off.
Yeah, like your body's check engine light or something.
Exactly. Something's not quite right.
Right.
And it's trying to get your attention.
That's a great analogy. So there's this whole world of headaches, and we're going to talk about the three most common types, right?
Right, let's do it.
Starting with tension headaches. I think most of us have probably experienced these at some point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Tension headaches are by far the most common type.
Ugh.
And they usually feel like this tight band or squeezing around your head.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Across your forehead, the sides of your head, or even the back. And a lot of times they're caused by stress or being tired or dehydrated.
Yeah, that tracks. Makes sense. So that's tension headaches. Now, migraines, they seem more intense, and they have other symptoms too.
Yeah, exactly. Migraines are definitely more severe. And unlike tension headaches, the pain is often focused on one side of the head.
Oh, interesting. One-sided.
Yeah. And often they come with other symptoms too, like nausea, sensitivity to light and sound, even dizziness, or visual disturbances like seeing flashing lights.
Oh, flashing lights.
Yeah, it can be really debilitating. Some people also find that things like loud noises or strong smells can trigger migraines for them.
Yeah, overstimulation almost. Okay, so that's migraines. And then lastly, we have cluster headaches.
Right.
These are supposed to be super painful, but less common, right?
Yes, much less common, thankfully. But when you get them, they are extremely painful.
I bet.
Often described as like a sharp, piercing, burning sensation, usually around one eye. And true to their name, they come in clusters. So you might get several headaches a day for weeks or even months at a time.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
It's pretty rough. And some people also get a runny nose or a watery eye on the side where the pain is.
Wow, so intense and so specific. So we've talked about what headaches are, the different types. Now, what actually causes them in the first place?
Yeah, let's get into the why.
Because we've got a lot of potential culprits here, starting with something as simple as dehydration.
Yeah, even mild dehydration can really mess with your body's balance.
Like throw things out of whack.
Totally. And a headache is often one of the first signs that you're not getting enough fluids.
Interesting.
Water's crucial for pretty much everything your body does, from regulating temperature to transporting nutrients, you name it.
So many important things.
So if you're not drinking enough, your brain is one of the first things to let you know.
Yeah, loud and clear. And of course, lack of sleep is another big one.
Oh, for sure. If I don't sleep well, I almost always wake up with a headache.
Me too.
Sleep is when your body repairs and recharges, So if you're not getting enough, it can throw off your hormones, increase inflammation.
Yeah, all kinds of bad stuff.
And that can definitely lead to headaches. It's like your body is saying, hey, I need a break.
Like, let me reset.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing we talked about is too much screen time, which I know is a big one for a lot of us these days.
Absolutely. We're constantly looking at screens, right? Our phones, computers, tablets. It's no wonder we're getting headaches.
Yeah, eye strain.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And when your eyes are strained for so long, the muscles around your eyes get tired, and that tension can spread to your head and neck, causing a headache.
I feel like I'm getting a headache just thinking about it.
So it's super important to take breaks from screens.
That's a good reminder. And then environmental factors came up too, like loud noises and bright lights. I know those can be big triggers for migraines.
Right. For people who get migraines, those kinds of strong sensory inputs can be too much for their nervous system to handle.
Yeah, sensory overload.
Exactly. It's like an overload that triggers that whole migraine cascade. And even for people who don't get migraines, too much noise or bright lights can still cause a regular headache.
Makes sense. Now, this was an interesting one. Certain foods, like too much chocolate or cheese or processed meats.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
See, it's so weird. Why would those cause a headache?
It's different for everyone, but certain foods contain compounds that can affect the blood vessels in your brain or mess with your neurotransmitters, which are the chemicals that send signals in your brain.
So it's like those foods are kind of messing with your brain chemistry?
In a way, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And of course, we can't forget about stress and anxiety.
Oh yeah, stress is a huge trigger.
It can really manifest physically.
It totally can. When you're stressed, your body releases all these chemicals that can tense up your muscles, especially in your head, neck, and shoulders.
It's like your body's bracing for impact or something.
Kinda, yeah. And all that muscle tension can easily lead to a headache, especially a tension headache.
So we've talked about what headaches are and what causes them. Now, how do you actually know if you're getting a headache? What are the signs?
Well, the most obvious sign is pain in your head, of course.
Right.
But as we talked about earlier, the pain can feel different depending on the type of headache. It can be dull and achy, or sharp and throbbing, or even feel like pressure or tightness.
So many different flavors of pain, huh?
Right. And with some headaches, you might also feel nauseous or dizzy, or you might be really sensitive to light and sound.
Ugh, yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
And sometimes people feel tired or irritable before or during a headache, too.
It's like your whole body is just out of sorts. Okay, so let's talk about how to prevent these things. You know, how do we stop headaches from happening in the first place?
Right. Prevention is key.
Because who wants a headache? And staying hydrated was one of the most important things mentioned.
Definitely. Drinking enough water is so important for so many reasons.
Yeah, it's like the foundation of good health.
Totally. And it can really help prevent those tension headaches.
Good to know.
So make sure you're sipping water throughout the day. Don't wait until you're super thirsty.
And keeping a water bottle handy is always a good idea.
For sure. Another key is having a regular sleep schedule.
Oh yeah, consistency is so important.
It really is. Going to bed and waking up around the same time each day helps regulate your body's natural rhythms, which can really help prevent headaches.
It's like setting your internal clock.
Exactly. And we talked about screen time earlier. Taking regular breaks is so crucial.
Absolutely. You know, the 20-20-20 rule.
Yes. Every 20 minutes, look away from your screen at something about 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's a good one. Easy to remember.
And it really helps reduce eye strain, which can lead to headaches.
Yeah.
Now, diet plays a big role too.
Absolutely. What we eat affects everything, doesn't it?
Totally. Eating a healthy diet with lots of fruits, veggies, and whole grains can help prevent headaches.
Yeah, nourish your body and nourish your brain.
Right. And limiting processed foods, too much caffeine, and those trigger foods we talked about can make a big difference too.
So basically, just eating clean and balanced, right?
That's the idea.
And of course, managing stress is huge.
Absolutely. Stress is a major headache trigger for so many people.
I know it is for me.
So finding healthy ways to manage stress is really important. Things like deep breathing, mindfulness, meditation, listening to calming music, or doing hobbies you enjoy can really help.
Yeah, find what works for you, right?
Exactly. And you know what else can help? Fresh air.
Sometimes I forget about the simple things.
It's amazing what some fresh air can do. It can clear your head, improve your mood, and even help prevent headaches.
So get outside, take a walk, breathe in that fresh air.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about how to prevent headaches, but what if you're already in the throes of a headache? What can you do?
Right. What can you do in the moment?
Because sometimes you just need relief, like now.
Totally. So first things first, rest. Find a quiet, dark place where you can relax and let your body try to recover.
Sometimes you just need to shut everything out.
Yeah, exactly. And make sure you're drinking enough water. Dehydration can make headaches worse, so staying hydrated is key.
Always good advice.
You can also try applying a cold compress to your forehead or temples, or a warm compress to your neck or shoulders.
I love a good ice pack.
Yeah, it can really help. And those relaxation techniques we talked about for prevention, those can also be helpful for managing a headache once it starts.
Like deep breathing or mindfulness.
Exactly. Anything that helps you relax and calm your nervous system.
Now, it's super important to know when to seek professional help, right? what are some red flags that might mean a headache is more serious?
Yeah, that's a great point. So if you get a sudden, severe headache that's unlike anything you've ever experienced before, definitely see a doctor right away.
Or if it's like a really rapid onset.
Yeah, anything that feels really different or alarming. Also, if you have other symptoms along with the headache, like a fever, stiff neck, changes in your vision, weakness or numbness or confusion, those could be signs of something more serious.
So don't hesitate to get checked out if anything feels off.
Absolutely. Better safe than sorry.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from the basics of what a headache is to the different types, causes, symptoms, prevention strategies, and even what to do when a headache strikes.
Yeah, it's been great to break it all down.
And I think the biggest takeaway is that headaches are incredibly common, but we don't have to just suffer through them.
Exactly. By understanding what causes them and taking steps to prevent them, we can really minimize their impact on our lives.
And as we wrap up, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if everyone started tracking their daily habits, like how much water they're drinking, their sleep, their screen time, their diet, their stress levels?
I love that idea.
You might be surprised by what you learn about your own personal headache triggers.
Definitely. Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. So pay attention to those patterns, adjust your habits, and hopefully you can keep those headaches at bay.
That's great advice. Thanks for having me. It's been a really interesting discussion.
It has been. Thanks for joining us. And listeners, thanks for tuning into The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.